Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. We just spent 2 weeks in Ireland and we made some mistakes and we saw some mistakes and we want to share those with you guys.
So the very first mistake we made in Ireland was concerning the car rental, and we got there and we hadn't really checked out the insurance situation. And you are really not covered by your credit card or your personal insurance in Ireland. Apparently there's so much fraud there that it's one of the few countries that you are not covered. And if you get there and you don't have a plan for your insurance, you're going to end up having to be forced into purchasing the rental cars insurance, which is about $30 some a day. It's pretty expensive. So yeah, that was a mistake. Although I'm not really sure what we could have done about it because we just simply weren't covered by our card. It was just something we didn't know and we didn't plan for. So plan for, if you don't have a way to get covered, that you're going to end up tacking on an additional at least $30 a day for your car rental to get the insurance.
And the insurance company, the car rental company does not just take your word for it. Like most car rental companies, you can just say, oh yeah, my insurance covers, and they say, okay, what company is it, and they type it in, right? Well, it's not that simple. In Ireland, they require a written letter, or you can call your insurance or credit card company on the phone while you're there, and they can give them a verbal confirmation on the phone. So it's not as simple as just saying, oh yeah, I'm covered, and then just, roll the dice and hope for the best. You really have to prove to them that you're covered, because they are aware of the fact that most credit card companies that offer insurance don't offer it in Ireland, and most personal insurance companies don't offer it either. So
Correct.
Yeah, that's important.
Second mistake people make is not checking the weather for the attractions they're going to. And the weather changes drastically day to day. So if you're going to something like the Cliffs of Moher, or you're going to do the Slea Head Drive in Dingle, you want to be there on a good weather day. So maintain flexibility for your trip. Give yourself enough days. Don't just go to Ireland for 7 days. You'll never see it all in good weather. Give yourself enough days to have a couple of shots of something. If it's something that you really want to see, you may get to the Cliffs of Moher and you can't even see it. You may have to go back the next day. So we got kind of lucky in that one. We just drove right through. We didn't even stop. Drove through, spent about 3 or 4 hours there, kept going. But there were other places that we were where we had to go back and see something because the weather was bad the first time that we tried.
Yeah, that is important. Like other places, we always offer this advice to people is don't go to the attractions in the afternoon. That's when all of the tours are going, because a lot of the tours go to some of the attractions in Ireland from Dublin. It's like a day tour, so likely they're going to be there in the afternoon. If you go in the afternoon, then be prepared for the crowds, be prepared for those big buses, be prepared to be looking for a parking spot because the parking lots are so full. Just allow yourself time by going, again, if you're an early person, go early before the crowds get there. Or if you're like us and we like to sleep in, we go later on in the day and we get the same result as those that go early in the morning. So just allowing for that time to...
We also get to see the sunset at every attraction. So
yes.
That's important.
Which is really a lot of fun. Yeah. Another thing is when we talk about, driving earlier and renting your car, you've got your rental car, is that in Ireland, we're from the United States, and so we drive on the right-hand side from the left-hand side of the car, and in Ireland, they drive on the left from the right side of the inside of the car. So most cars that you're going to rent there actually are manual or stick shift. So even if you know how to drive one, which I do, it's difficult to switch to, I'm a right-handed person, so it's difficult to try to figure out the manual with my left hand while driving from the other side of the road. It's really a lot going on in my brain. And even the girl at the car rental place said, You know, a lot of people get in the car and they realize, oh crap, this is really hard. And she's had several people even say, can I switch this? I know it's going to be a lot more. So we reserved an automatic, and thankfully we got there early on in the day and they had plenty of automatics and we didn't have that problem. So I didn't have to deal with that, but I did have to drive obviously from the right side of the car on the left side of the road. So it did take me several days to get used to it, but I did get used to it.
Yeah. So you're going to be flying into Dublin most likely, and there is a toll road that you'll be taking, and it is just something that you need to be aware of. They'll maybe explain it to you at the car rental place. They should.
Yes.
But you need to just go in every night that you've gone through that toll road, which is the interstate that goes to Dublin, and go on the next night by 8 o'clock and pay the toll. It's not very much money. It's only like 2 or 3 euros, I think. But if you don't pay it, it's going to be 30 euros plus a service charge. So just make sure you remember or know that you have to go online and pay your toll every night that you drive through that Dublin expressway.
Yeah, and if you don't pay it, not only do you get the penalty, but you also get the penalty from the rental car company. So a 2 euro toll could cost you 50 euros. So be very careful with that. And it tells you, because it's only an automatic where it takes the picture of the tag. So there's no actual toll booths. So there's no option of actually stopping and paying it. You have to drive through it. That's the only option. And they have signs all over that area where it tells you what the website is, and you have to go by 8 o'clock the next day and pay it before they do the penalty charge, right?
But I think the biggest mistake you could make in visiting Ireland, for me personally, would be not allowing time to go over to Northern Ireland.
Ooh, yes.
We decided we were going to take 3 days in Belfast, and so happy that we did, because it ended up being our favorite part of that whole part of the trip.
Yes, definitely.
So they got the Titanic Museum, we stayed at the Titanic Hotel.
We did.
They have the dark hedges, a lot of Game of Thrones stuff, just some amazing scenery up there. And if you're rushed, I would even cut something out of Ireland if you have to get to Northern Ireland and get to see Belfast. It's just a very interesting cultural place to visit.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people are deterred by its, tumultuous history, but it's a very welcoming country, and they really are trying to get their tourism going, and they're really making an effort. And they do take you. They don't hide their history. They do take you on some of the tours, like the hop on hop off bus will take you even over to the international murals and to the Peace Wall and all that. So they don't cut that part of it out. And it isn't just about the Titanic. It is about embracing their entire history. So it's definitely worth the time to go there. We actually were sad that we only spent 3 days there. We would have spent more for sure.
Yeah, it is very safe though there. It feels very safe compared to what I thought it would feel like. So
I agree.
Not a problem to go there. Another problem that people have when they go to Ireland is you're gonna fly into Dublin, so should you start in Dublin or should you finish up in Dublin? And we finished in Dublin, which was good for us because we were already in Europe, so we were not having any jet lag. We flew into Dublin, our flight was in the afternoon, got our car, drove all the way to Dingle that first night, which was great because we basically saved the day that way. The ideal way to do it in my book would be to fly into Dublin, get your car, go to wherever your first place is going to be, and then finish up your trip in Dublin, because then when you get back to Dublin you can just turn your rental car in and go to your hotel and take public transportation to get around, because you're not gonna want to drive in Dublin, trust me on that. And it saves you a couple extra days of car rental and car rental insurance, and by the end of your trip you're going to be over driving in Ireland, and you're just going to want to turn that thing in, get on the transportation, and it'll be better to do it then than at the beginning, because if you fly in then you have to do your whole trip and then try to go find where you rent the car from, which can be problematic. So
yeah, and that's key too. The driving it's very different driving in the big city of Dublin when the entire time you've been driving the rest of the country, which is essentially very narrow roads, even for two cars, and a lot of single track roads. And you have to, contend with tour buses on those as well. So you do kind of, like you said, get over driving. By the time you get back to Dublin, you're not really into driving, and it can be very confusing. The street signs are all really different because, again, they're driving on the left side. If you're used to that, that's fine, but if you're not used to it like us, it makes it really a lot more challenging with it being very busy, and I got honked at several times. I'm sure I did something wrong, but I had no idea what it was.
Well, there's roundabouts like every 50 feet. Mm-hmm. So they don't have a lot of stoplights, they're just all roundabouts, and there's 1-lane roundabout, 2-lane roundabouts, or 3-lane roundabouts, and depending on which exit you're getting out at, you got to get in the right lane.
Correct.
Well, if you don't really know before you get into the roundabout which one you're getting off at, or know what the proper lane is to be in, it's kind of hard to do. So.
It is. They should give you a test before they let you do it.
Yeah. So at the completion of your trip, you're going to be flying back home, probably out of the Dublin airport. Mm-hmm. And the mistake people make there is not allowing themselves enough time to get through security there. We have been traveling for a year, and it is by far the most picky security and time-consuming security we have ever seen. And we're from Atlanta, Hartsfield, the busiest airport in the world. They go through every single thing on every single person. The line exhausting. Where they pull the bags out, there was no line. They just pulled every bag out.
They did.
And went through every single thing. And they were looking in people's toothpaste. They were looking in every single thing. Food. They pulled my bag out and they said, they went through it. And I said, what was it? Why was it pulled out? And they said, we just couldn't tell. So there was really no reason. They just
a lot of wires.
They just pulled the bag out because they...
Yeah. My bag went through, twice? 3 times. It went through the first time, got pulled out, of course, and so as I was expecting. So it gets pulled out, and she goes through the bag. Can I go through it? I said, of course. She opens it up. She goes through all the stuff, and then she's like, okay, well, I need to take these things out and put them back through by themselves. Okay, so she pulls out 10 things from my bag. Mind you, it's full of electronics, which is what we keep on us all the time. So she put it back through, and it got pulled out again. So I had to wait again. How long did we sit in that security line? In and out.
By the time you get to the checkpoint of the security, it takes a while because they're pulling everything out. Yeah. But once we got to the point where we were getting checked, it probably took us 45 minutes
easily
to get checked.
That was exhausting. I've never experienced that.
Normally you're fine with 2 hours, but definitely get there 3 hours.
Give yourself that time so you don't have to stress because it's really crazy. But other than that was a challenge, but it wasn't. Thankfully, we were there with plenty of time, so we weren't stressed about it. But definitely wanted you guys to know if you're flying through there that the security is very intense. But we had a great trip to Ireland, and we hope you enjoy it too. If you made any of these mistakes, or if you avoided any of these mistakes because of this video, share that with us in the comments, and make sure that you like the video. If you like it, you can share it. If you know someone that's going to Ireland, or you're trying to hint somebody to go to Ireland, share it with them. But we look forward to sharing more of these videos with you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.